Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As a part of LIBF 2026 Mumbai Calling, this breakout session focuses on a theme that is central to India's future: Atmanirbharta in defense. For the armed forces and especially for the Indian Navy, self-reliance is not just a concept, it's an operational necessity. It's about readiness, resilience, and building capabilities. It is therefore my privilege and an honor for us to be joined by Vice Admiral Atul Anand ji, PVSM, AVSM, VSM, a senior flag officer of the Indian Navy and currently Additional Secretary Department of Military Affairs and Ministry of Defense. With decades of leadership across maritime operations, strategic planning, and national defense policy, his perspective brings rare depth to the conversation on, on indigenization, capability development, and nation building. We are honored to have him deliver his keynote address for this session. Please join me in welcoming him on stage.
So what I'm going to do is, because it is post-lunch session, I will cut short my script. I'll speak only of the facts. I've interacted with most of you in the audience, so I know what you're looking for. So I'll cut the formalities. Distinguished delegates, industry leaders, various entrepreneurs are here. I see venture capitalists, venture funds being run. Thank you for sparing time to listen to me. I need to thank Mr. Satish Vitlani and Mr. Ashok Thakkar. These are two gentlemen who thought that somebody in the audience or somebody in this expo would be interested in listening to what I have to say. I'm aware the Lohana group or the Lohana group of people trace their descent from King Love, who's the son of Lord Rama. And therefore they earned the name Lohana. Which actually, in my sense, what I read, it means master of the swords. So there is some element of a Kshatriya warrior in all the Lohana community members. I know that they branched out to the trade, business, etc. But that does not mean that they do not have this in their blood. So firstly, thanks to the MC. Madam, you can sit down, please. You'll be fine. Don't worry. Don't be tense. Relax. Yeah. It's an interaction. It's not a policy lecture of sorts. I will focus on three things today. One is where the opportunities are, how Indian firms can participate in these opportunities, and thirdly, because I am aware that it is the next generation which is getting into this field. The senior generation has been more interested in business, so to say. I met a lot of young 20, 30-year-olds who are keen to do something different from what their parents did. You see large business houses, their children are now venturing into the defense space. It is interesting, it is challenging, and the scope is wide because it's not limited to India alone. Well, before going to the scope, I can tell you that before I came here, one of my friends, he came and told me that his broker friend told him that, do you know the Lohanas are going to listen to a lecture on defense, on Atmanirbharta and defense. So he said, yes, he's my friend. So he says, have you bought the defense stocks? Because the stock market has got to know that Lohanas are going to listen to a talk on defense and these shares values are going to shoot up. And this happened 3 days back, and I did see, all the defense stocks go up. So I hope you have all invested in stocks before coming for the lecture, because as we speak, the stocks are going up because of you in the audience, right? Okay. Coming to the scope, you can see the scope on the screen. I will cover what the Department of Military Affairs does. That is where I come from. Its mandate, the leadership roles that drive our agenda, indigenization momentum and achievements. The framework policy ecosystem created by Ministry of Defense to facilitate opportunities for Indian defense industries, focus areas for the industry and some way forward. So the Department of Military Affairs was established only in 2019. This works under the Chief of Defense Staff, who's also the Secretary, Department of Military Affairs. So we are people in uniform, but we have the powers of the bureaucrats. So I am a naval officer of the rank of a Vice Admiral. I am doing the job of an additional secretary to the Government of India, right? So my powers, my financial powers go up to around 200 crores for some projects, say works case, whereas each individual service, that is the service chief, say Army Chief, Navy Chief, Air Chief, in their sense, their powers would be much less than half, right? So that is how we wanted, or the present government wanted, that bureaucracy or red tapeism is reduced in the armed forces. So we understand the urgency. So if somebody comes and tells me, look, I can make this kind of a shell, or this kind of a missile, or this kind of a drone, I as a defense officer understand it. A pure bureaucrat may not understand it. I'm not trying to, distinguish in a negative term. I'm just saying that we in the armed forces, we would understand it better. And when hostilities break out, like you had in Op Sindoor, we can distinguish between the services. If the army says, I want to spend 100 crores on this, Navy says, I want to spend 200 crores on this, Air Force says, I want to spend so much on this. As a defense officer, I know what is most important out of all three. I also know what can be bought commonly. So I know that if the Air Force is buying anti-tank missiles, and the Army is also buying anti-tank missiles, I know how to understand the range of the Air Force launched, air-launched missile as compared to the surface-launched missile, and I can distinguish it. Whereas a pure bureaucrat may or may not understand it, right? So, yeah. So our mandate includes, I've told some of you that, look, if you meet me or my staff and you ask some questions or some assistance, we are not doing you a favor, it is our job, right? So what is our job? To say it simply, ensure jointness across the three services, because that is where we can optimize for ourselves. And secondly, also help you. Some of you are pure naval-based suppliers. You supply paints to the Navy, but you do not know its application is there in the Army also, right? Army also has an amphibious element. Navy has its own. And there are air stations which are based along the coast. So they are affected by the sea or the salinity aspects. Then of course we want to accelerate capability development. We want to be amongst the first, amongst equals in the world. We act as a bridge between the operational needs of the services and the Indian industry. So we understand what the Indian industry can produce. We know how much to challenge them and therefore get the best of what we can. So just as a background, I don't want to insult the intelligence of this, well-informed community sitting here. It is a no-brainer why Atmanirbharta is important. If you look around the world, conflicts like the Russia-Ukraine war, Israel-Gaza crisis, tensions in Taiwan Strait, Iran affairs that you see, tariff wars, sanctions, have made access to critical technologies. In every system, there is one critical technology. That is the heart. Like we say in the human being, the heart is the critical part. Some of you may say the stomach is, I don't know, after lunch, but it is the heart, take it from me. So the heart of the system is that critical technology which is denied to you. So when hostilities break out and you want to scale up your production, you find that particular chip or that particular equipment or that particular masala, whatever you want to call it, is not available to you. It is denied. So our supply chain gets affected. we basically want to make sure that our national security is not held hostage to the foreign policy of any country. To put it simply, that is our job. If another country, maybe friendly today, changes its foreign policy, Indian armed forces should not be affected. That is in a nutshell. So the answer is therefore clear. It is Atmanirbharta. There is no other choice. We need to maintain, upgrade and build our own defense systems. So we are right now witnessing a historic transformation in the defense field. For decades, India has been one of the largest defense importers. Today, it is becoming a designer, manufacturer, and an exporter. We call the Indian Navy a builder's navy now. We build our own ships, right? I will talk about the Air Force and the Army also. Like I said, I'm an officer in uniform, naval uniform, but I talk for all the three services. So in the Army, if you see almost 80 to 90% plus, over 90% of our ammunition for the Indian Army is indigenous today. That is where we are reached. Also, what is important is defense manufacturing is no longer a closed PSU, a PSU only sector. It is now a national strategic mission. Therefore, it is open to private industry, which was not the case some years back. So there are a lot of MSMEs, startups, global partners who are coming. And we understand the flexibility that is there to a civil player or a private partner. There are technologies, if I as a defense officer go and tell, say the US Armed Forces officer, I want this, he will never give it to us. But you may be making a washing machine in India and that critical component, you may get it from whichever country you want. So that is the flexibility you have. You may partner or you may do a joint venture with another defense company in US. But as an armed forces, we may not be able to do it. So the difference, we have understood the practicality of having a private sector into this space. Earlier it was all secret. कुछ बताना नहीं तो कुछ होगा नहीं. Now we realize if you don't say, कुछ बताओगे नहीं तो मिलेगा भी नहीं कुछ. So that is the difference. That is why my question as to why defense and why now. Why is it important that you come into the armed forces related equipment and procurement now? So the next few slides, I'll tell you how we are shifting from foreign dependence to the path of self-reliance in defense. India is among the world's top defense spenders. An allocation of 6.8 lakh crores in 25-26, of which 75% of the procurement budget is reserved for domestic industry. So that is the scale we are talking of. And it is good to see that Indian defense production has seen an all-time high of 1.5 lakh crores in 25-26. Defense exports also have risen sharply. We were barely 686 crores to be accurate in 2013-2014. And now from 686 crores, we have gone to 23,622 crores in 24-25, which is a record. So this means that Indian companies are no longer just suppliers to our armed forces. They are becoming global defense suppliers. I'll tell you a short story. When my ship, I was the second in command of INS Delhi, which is based out of Mumbai. I later commanded INS Mumbai, which is a ship named after the city. So we were doing refit, and during the refit, we repair the ship and we do some upgrades. So in the operations room of a warship, if you go, you have all sorts of lights. You got a blue colored light, you got a red colored light and a white colored light. Because depending on the equipment, say you're seeing a radar, you want to be sure that you don't miss the target. So it goes into a different color, right? And in daytime, it would be white. So like the amount of lights you can see on top, if you go to the Indian built ships operations room, you would see three of these. So what you're seeing on top, you would see 3 times the number of lights. And that is when in one of the conferences like this, we were sitting and one friend came up and he said, "Sir, I supply tube lights to NATO." He's based out of Maharashtra, someplace. And all he's got is he had a tube light with a switch which could go 3 ways. When he would switch it up, it would become red, it would become blue or white. So the entire top became 1/3 of what it was. So it is that simple a thing. There's another person who said, look, sir, you are using a lot of heaters in your ships to, heat the compartments. And we have those big, big heaters. In India, even today, you'll see, the room heaters are big. So this fellow had access to some Russian technology. He says, sir, in the Russian submarines, the submarine is all shaped round. There's hardly a flat surface. So he says, sir, in those submarines which operate under the, ice packs, they have the heaters which are conformal with the bend of the submarine hull. So the heater itself would be bent and a thin plate. So he says, that much space I can save on your warship, that much weight I can save, and I will get you this technology. And he bought it as a commercial technology from there and started giving it to us as a defense technology. So that is how things can move. So I want to highlight the indigenization momentum by this slide. Basically, over the last 5 years, domestic contracts have consistently outpaced foreign contracts. In financial year 24-25, 88% of contracts by value and 84% by number were awarded to the Indian industry. So if any of you think that there is no scope, this is what I wanted to highlight. Out of 216 contracts, 182 were domestic. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, okay, sorry. Once again, so out of 216 contracts, 182 are domestic, and this basically indicates a shift in the balance in indigenous defense production vis-a-vis the, this is now showing the public versus private sector to you. So I was on the right slide, but over the last 5 years, private sector contracts have shown an upward trend. 24-25, 83 were with the private sector and 28 were with the MSMEs. So you understand the MSMEs and the private sector, I'm sure. So this is the scale. And basically 14% increase has been there in the share of the private defense industry. Now, I want to tell you what are the schemes that we have got. Some of you may have the money or the rokada, as I say. Some of you may not have. Some of you may not be ready to risk your father's hard-earned money. Some of you may not want to risk, playing with the banks. So what are the various schemes that are there? This is what I'll try and tell you. So the first of these schemes is something called, these are all very recent schemes. First is called IDEX, or the Innovation for Defense Excellence. So this is meant for the MSMEs. How do they enter this field that I've been talking about? So this is the gateway between an innovator and the armed forces, right? So what we do is all the three services, Army, Navy, Air Force, we tell you our problem statements. Mera problem kya hai? Like I said, I've got too much space being taken up in my operations room by tube lights. Can you do something about it? Or I have heaters which do not function too well and they take up all the space. Whereas I want to put, weapons there, I want to put ammunition there. Can you help me? So similarly, the day-to-day problems that we face, like I was talking to somebody, my ship's hull, my warship ka outer side, every 1 year or 2 years I have to start painting it again. So I am facing a problem. Can you do something? You are the industry, right? So those kind of problem statements are there. It is there in the open. It's on the net. You can go and see it. You may be from any industry. You see it and you see what suits you. So you don't need to be a defense company. You can be any company dealing in electronics or, you paints or surfaces, whatever. So how does this fund work? Up to 1.5 crores per project is provided under this scheme. It is called IDEX standard. And if required, we go higher by IDEX Prime and Aditi. So it's a milestone-based funding. We give you the money. You reach one stage, we give you that much. If you don't progress to the next stage, fair enough. At least you have developed technology to that level. Somebody else will take it up. But itna to kiya kam se kam, right? So therefore, the scheme basically tells you what our problem is. a practical problem. We help you develop a prototype. You may not get into scaled production. For scale production, you need money of VCs and all that. You know, कि अच्छा factory लगाओ, अब 100 item बनाओ. But that first item we want somebody to make. The VC will not put money until you prove your product. Okay, and then we help you do the field trials. You may produce a drone which can drop ammunition, but आप वो ammunition फेंकोगे कहाँ? आप तो बॉम्बे का company हो. I hope you don't drop it in Kolaba where our family stays, or the other where my wife belongs to. You have to practice it somewhere. So where will you do it? Firing range तो नहीं है आपके पास. Singapore as a country does not have firing ranges for its missiles, because if it fires a missile at 200, 300 miles, it will go out of the country. So where does it fire? So similarly, if you are a production agency, you have developed something high tech, you want to try it out, we help you try it out. And of course, then we help you, guide you how to market it to the armed forces. Yeah, this I've covered. This I've generally covered. So, if some of you are wondering, have people taken advantage of it? What is the success of this scheme? This is the slide for that. So the armed forces have issued 549, say about 550 problem statements to Indian innovators. These innovators are children ranging from 18, 20 to people of my age. I won't tell you my age, but pretty old. Out of these 549 statements that we gave out, problems, 430 prototype contracts have emerged, in which 619 startups were involved. And this pipeline will convert into over 10 lakh crores of defense orders within the next 8 to 10 years. So this is the scale of this one scheme, which has created a massive opportunity for Indian innovators and manufacturers both. Okay, after IDEX, the next pillar of how we provide support to the defense innovation ecosystem is the Technology Development Fund. It's called TDF. This is basically looking at R&D, research and development. How to produce indigenous defense technology in the country. And its purpose is simple. The aim is to take an idea that you have in the laboratory, how to take it to the battlefield. I repeat, how to take your idea which is still at a laboratory stage and move it to the battlefield. So that is what the TDF is supposed for. It supports defense R&D, indigenous technology development, and of course bridges that gap. Now it is open to Indian companies, industries, startups, MSMEs. It is open to universities also. It is open to academic institutions of any size. And of course industry consortia that are there. So whether you are a small startup or a large defense company, TDF will allow you to build strategic technologies for the country. A lot of people I interact with are just doing it from their patriotism. It is a hobby for him. He says, sir, मैं ये game खेलता था. I designed this software as a game. In a park in Delhi, we used to, challenge each other. We had 10 teams and we used to challenge, find this chap. So I made a chip. When I put it, I could find that chap. So sir, now you can find a dead body in an avalanche if your soldier is wearing that chip in his watch. So those kind of ideas are coming up. So it need not be, just money making. So TDF is serious funding. It is much more than what I told you in IDEX. TDF gives you 50 crores per project. If you come up with an idea or an innovative idea, we'll give you up to 50 crores per project, and up to 90% of the total project cost with milestone-based disbursement is available to reduce the financial risk to the innovator. So like I said, you had an idea in a laboratory. Usko aage le jana hai. We understand that, but we want that technology. Otherwise, you'll go and sell it to outside countries. There are many Indians who are, like I told you, that tube light incident. Somebody was giving it to NATO. Now, if you want to read up on things, you need to refer to this manual. It's called the DPM, it's the Defense Procurement Manual, right? And we have recently revised it. The Honorable Raksha Mantri was kind enough to approve it. Now this basically aims to expedite revenue procurement. So there are two routes in the government. One is revenue, one is capital. Capital would be, say, I want to buy, the aircraft Rafales you are hearing about. But when I say that a particular component which has wear and tear of that aircraft has to be changed every 2 years, 3 years, it goes into revenue route. Okay, so whatever is repetitive is revenue in a sense. But big ticket items, buying tanks, ships are capital projects. So in this manual, recently we have done some more improvements. We have said we'll give you up to 15% funding for complex systems. There is a concept of liquidated damages. If you are aware, in the government machinery, there is something called LD. You have said you will give me this system. Say you have designed a bulletproof jacket or a firefighting suit, which you say is very good. It is better than what is there. Or a fire extinguisher or a robotic fire extinguisher. Somebody developed a robot which can fight fire inside the compartment. But you fail to supply it in time, then naturally we are going to put some damages on you. That is called the LD clause. So that we have reduced because we know that smaller companies should not be made to, don't feel punished for that. And there are certain no objection certificates. So we have done away with a lot of bureaucratic red tapeism. Now there are many of you who feel that okay, I want to develop this, but I do not know ye aage kitna chahiye government ko. How much does the armed force actually need it? Finally you're stepping into a career. Your son or your child may want to get into this career, but how long will that idea last? I was speaking to somebody here, a top VC of the country. He says, I come across many people who have developed a new technology and I am ready to sponsor him. But I do not know how much in quantity terms that item the armed forces need. So आपने एक system बनाया, say this is a weapon which can do much damage, very high technology, the only type in the world. But ये armed forces को कितना चाहिए वो उसको पता नहीं. So it may dry up after 1 year because its life is forever. 10 years का life है इसको. So I have only requirement for 100 pieces. What will you do with it then? So this we call it the Technology Perspective and Capability Roadmap. It is published. It is there on the government website. It tells you for 15 years what the armed forces will need. So we are telling you 15 years from today till then what we need, what technologies we require, and therefore what defense orders will come if you go into that technology. So you are going with the eyes wide open. You are not blind. So whether it is the Army's need for tanks, drones, robots, loitering ammunition, Navy's focus on nuclear propulsion, unmanned vessels, or the Air Force push for UAVs, electronic warfare, AI-enabled energy weapons, all that is there in this. So it is a vision and a commitment. It is a vision of ours. It is a commitment to you that if you get into this technology, this is the minimum assured amount that you will get. A lot of people come and say that, sir, ये foreigner आ जाएगा, फिर हमारा तो काम कट जाएगा. We won't be able to, compete. So this is one of the most impactful schemes that we have done in the Department of Military Affairs. It's called something called the Positive Indigenization List. So this, in 2020, we have released 5 such lists. Basically, it tells you 509 items which will be bought from Indian sources only by the armed forces. We are telling you upfront, and we are telling the Indian industry, if you want to take advantage, this is what is going to be positively indigenous. And in a way, this links up with that what I told you, heart of the system. So we have identified what we want, and we know that if we rely on foreign suppliers, we will get stuck. So these items are there. So out of these 509 items, 191 have already been concluded. 114 items have there is something called acceptance of necessity. I won't bore you with that. But about 200 odd items are still available for you all to see and maybe link up. Now, that was, what challenges we are throwing. There are certain other items which we require on a regular basis. Okay. So those items are now there on something called a Srijan portal. Srijan portal contains today about 4,000 items, 3,900 equipment, spares, systems which have been uploaded by the three services. This equipment is what you need at the lowest level. Say there is uh, a unit in the army which is servicing tanks or servicing some machinery. In that it finds that there is some washer, okay, or some valve which time and again it requires. But when it asks the industry, it says, "Mereko import karna padega." So what he's done is now he directly puts it on this website. He says, "Look, I want this equipment." If you are an Indian producer, you may be producing some rubber goods, you may be in plastics, but uska you can modify it and give it to me. So right now about 4,000 such items are there, which you can all avail of, and each field unit can upload what it wants. Now we realize that whereas we are telling the industry what we want, right? I repeat, we are telling you what we want, but we do not know what the industry can produce. So say I am sitting in Delhi in headquarters, so we are a big organization, but there is a naval unit in say Okha or Jamnagar. Now he does not know कि मेरे को ये item कहाँ से मिलेगा. He's got a ready problem. He's got a ship or an aircraft which is not able to operate because of some small deficiency. Now that defect, if it wants to resolve, he wants to know who in the industry can do it. It can be a hydraulics company which is doing something in the offshore oil rig, but that agency should be able to handle it. Hydraulics is hydraulics, electronics is electronics, computers is computers. So this is where we are trying to link what the industry is capable of. So this is a portal which is being created by Department of Defense Production. Okay, and it is essentially a digital compendium of Indian defense capable industries. Any industry we feel or any company we feel has the potential to generate something of value to the defense, we have mapped it into this portal. So the users of this portal are people who are there in the field, military people. Koi Siachen mein baitha hai, now he's got a problem. Now he's not going to go to Kanyakumari to get that equipment. He wants to know that factory which is closest or that company which is closest. Understood? So this is how we have closed the gap. That is your Srijan Deep portal. So just like I spoke of Srijan Deep, there is another portal which is called the Digital Competency Mapping Portal. This basically maps the competency of MSMEs, startups and R&D institutions. So that I was talking of industry, now this is talking of MSMEs, startups, R&D institutions, again which we can access. So that ready-made solution may not be there, but I know that this chap can do a little bit of R&D and produce what I want. And again, this goes across, it goes to sensors, propulsion, robotics, AI, paints, any kind of material. So now we realize we need to be part of the system. We are just no longer users of technology. We are now co-creators, and therefore we are co-creators with the academia and the startups. So we have various platforms like this Tri-Services Academia Technology Symposium, TechRiti. There is something where the services directly engage with the IITs, universities. There are CSIR labs. And of course, there are young innovators, I said, who can contribute. So more than 100 MOUs have been signed and over 340 projects are presently underway. And there are more than 51 dual-use technologies. Like I said, that heater of the nuclear submarine is a dual-use technology. It can be used in the civil field and you can side by side sell it to the armed forces. There are some other national level technology initiatives that are being pursued. This is at the national level, but armed forces are a part of it. One is your National Technology Mission for Defense Applications. This is high-end technology. So if you have access to that, or you have friends in some other countries, you think you can get those scientists or those people across, this is for that. Similarly, there's a national quantum mission. Again, we are part of that. And we want to derive maximum benefits at the earliest from this. So these initiatives are aimed to push India into the next league. Now this is the practical aspect of it. I'll take you through it step by step. It may be boring to some, may be interesting to some, but this is the route that is to be taken. And if you are entering the defense space, like any other space, you need to know the rules, regulations, the steps. And most of the time, people like us come into demand is because you do not know where to take the first step. You do not know where is the office located. You do not understand, what quality assurances are required, what certifications are required. So let me take you through the steps. So what you see here are two parallel but connected pathways. One is if you are into innovation and R&D, right? And the other is if you are into manufacturing and production. Once again, one is innovation, second is manufacturing or production. So what is the first step? Is you identify your defense technology area. You identify what you connect with. You can't be a company making electronics, but you want to get into, space or something. You have to understand where you link up. So that is where your journey begins. That is step one. Identify what you can contribute to defense. Drones, electronics, AIs, sensors, robotics, cyber systems, naval systems, spares, subsystems. What is it that you want to get into? Once this is clear, you choose the path. So suppose you choose the pathway 1, which is innovation and R&D route. So that is your this step here. So the fastest and easiest entry into defense for new companies is this. That is, you enter into step 2. You go through the IDEX or the other routes which I have said, DIO, DISC. You look at the left side vertical. So you apply on the IDEX, Aditi, TDF challenges. The armed forces and DPSUs will tell you our problems. And the innovator picks out a problem out of that which it thinks it can solve. And you then come and propose a solution. After that comes the next step, that is step 3, where we look at the grant, mentorship, and problem allocation. So we look at how much money you need, who's going to mentor you. We will nominate whether the Army, Navy, Air Force, which is it, artillery, armored corps, what is it? So once you are selected and we find merit in your proposal, we'll give you the funding. We will give you mentoring by either the services or the DRDO. And a formal defense problem statement is made out. It could be, I want to send an item worth 10 kgs across the hills, okay, at a height of 500 feet. That is what a problem statement will be, without a person being in the loop. That is my problem. Ab aap solve kariye usko. Because you said you are into drones, I've told you this is my problem. There is a hill in my area which I need to cross, and there are troops on the other side who need this much of weight worth of items. So can you do that? If you say yes, so this is the route we have been taking now. Once you develop that, then we'll have the user trials. So this prototype would be tested by the Army, Navy, Air Force, DRDO or the DPSUs. And if it meets military standards, the standards have been laid out, we move forward. Otherwise, we retest or we guide you how to get on with it. Once it is successful, your product is now defense-ready product. Now, once it is defense-ready, you move into the production side. That means you move right. Now, at this stage, you may need money. You may go to a bank, you may go to a VC, you may go to somebody, some friend, uncle, tayaji, chacha, somebody. I need money because now I've got an order. You've got a signed thing from the armed forces, right? And we have told you how much quantity we need. So you know what is the money, what is the profitability of that setup. Now you move into manufacturing and production. You may decide not to go. You say, boss, mera itna ho gaya kam. I can't do more than this. I want to innovate more. I am a brainy chap. I don't want to get into day-to-day production. You stay out then and you hand over to somebody else. So now if you come into the manufacturing route, you get into industrial license and registration. Now that is where things like DP, IIT, there is an organization, these come in And there is a Department of Defense Production with which you register as a production partner. Once that is done, we will look at the quality, we'll check your certifications. The next step is that you would register on GEM and go through the Shrijan portal to see if there is any other value addition. And the last, or the step 8 would be tenders and orders, where now companies will start responding to RFPs. So you go to the GEM portal, you will see all our orders are there. You're a manufacturing or a production agency, you connect with this thing, you can go and apply for a RFP, respond to it. You can supply our positive indigenation list items, PILs, and you are part of the defense supply chain. You're in the system now, and we have trust on you, and you have trust on us. Also, once you're licensed, you can get into exports. So we register you as an export partner, and we will help you scale up your production to the requirement of that country. So that much for the difficult part of the presentation. Now the easier part. Basically, I'll give you a snapshot of major platform systems, and next I will tell you what key technologies we are looking at. So major platforms and systems range from armored vehicles, rocket launchers, gas turbines, radars, missiles, drones, simulators, guns, precision weapons. This is what we need in terms of platforms and systems. This is telling you what technologies we are looking at, where we are presently interested. Could be AI, autonomous drones, robotics, swarm systems, hypersonic weapons, directed energy systems, quantum technologies, advanced simulators, basically next generation capabilities that we need. So I'll just cover a few aspects more. Basically, despite the denials that are there in place, and we have had the denials for a very long time, we are now moving forward. We have taken the route of self-reliance. Indigenous design manufacturing is reducing our foreign dependency. Private sector R&D and investments by private players have created a vibrant innovation environment. STEM skill development initiatives are addressing a lot of our workforce problems. What education is being given is helping us a lot today. Technology transfer certification systems are being streamlined. Many of you I met are belonging to countries whose defense requirements are going to grow. A lot of people say, sir, we used to, overall your helicopters, we used to do this, we used to make bullets. Abhi to, there are so many competition in India. So our answer to them is now that, look, you are in Nigeria, you are in Kenya, you are in Tanzania. Those countries need it today. Somebody is supplying them. Who's supplying them? It can be you tomorrow. So it does not mean that India is the only one which is requiring it. Wars are breaking out everywhere. Some realization that has come, we have to leverage both DRDO and private sector. It is important that you are aligned with our operational requirements. वो पढ़ाई लिखाई वाला track is different. You want to get into technology, research, pure, that is another track. But first you have to try and address our real operational requirements. Like I said, the Himalayas are there, we have to cross them, we have to protect, and safeguard ourselves from that particular weather. You can't tell me that you will make a, say a Jeep, which will move at 60 kilometers per hour in Bombay city or in, Gujarat. But when it goes to the hill, it will move at 5 kilometers per hour. There is no use of that technology. So it has to be meeting our requirements that are there. We are ensuring regular senior leadership visits. If you are keen, you have made something, you want one of us to come and have a look informally, certainly can be done. There is a concept of NCNC, no cost, no commitment. If you feel you have done something different, You don't want to advertise to the whole world. In many of these seminars, there are nobody who asks me questions. When you step out, then that is when the questions come. Because you do not want to tell the other person what you have done. Right? It can leak out. So similarly, if you feel you have done something, you have made some product which is very, different, then you'd reach out to us. We will come, we will see your factory, or we'll send a representative, and we'll tell you the value that is there, or how to, little tweak it and make it more valuable. So that is our job. I mean, it's not a favor. Now, just in case you are thinking that we are not looking at international collaborations, it is wrong. There are many countries who are friendly to us. Okay, so certainly we want to give access to certain technologies to them from India. May not be the best that we have, but certainly some technology which is old, we don't mind sharing it. You've heard about the BrahMos missile, Pinaka rocket launcher systems. We are doing things with them. It's not that it's only for indigenous consumption. We are also trying to safeguard MSMEs from the the people who are investing into them. So we make sure that he is given a free play. That means it should not happen that the VC chokes him. कि मैंने आपको इतना पैसा दिया, आपने इतने टाइम में नहीं किया, मैं तो I will eat you up. It does not. We make sure that some protection is there. There are defense industrial corridors coming up, including in Maharashtra. Recently, there's not defense, but that Orange City has been announced at Davos. I saw some video. There is a corridor that is being planned. I had met one of the senior ministers here, which is looking at a large area where only drones, anybody making drones in the country, they are expecting them to come there and make it. So that will provide an ecosystem. The banker who's sitting there will give money to the chap. The certification agency will be there. The testing agency will be there. So it is a defense corridor for drones. Similar systems are being planned across the country. UP, Andhra Pradesh, you'll see a lot coming up. So I would like to thank you. I won't take much more of your time. I too have a flight to catch. You can check the BSE, the stock exchange. I'm sure defense stocks have gone up. Some of you may have been sitting here and investing, but all I can do is wish you best of luck. It is a different space. It is not easy. It's not easy to understand the terminology, the language we speak, okay, the standards we require. But a lot of people tell us that, look, we know, sir, agar if we develop something, we know our money will come back. We know that it will be clean. We know there will be fair competition. We know there is transparency. So it is exciting, especially for the younger generation, I'll tell you. So with that, I will end. Normally people don't ask questions, but if you want, we'll throw it open for questions. Yeah, sure, come. I have a friend here, I forgot, I have a captain who's from my department. He dealing with positive indigenation lists, etc. And he's helped me make this presentation. No need. Thank you. Thanks.
So firstly, sir, I think
people must be saying 320 हो गया, 3.5 market बंद हो जाता है.
So thank you for your service. I think the nation owes you a debt of gratitude.
We'll come after that.
I have been one of those beneficiaries. We invested very early on into Astra Microwave, which developed the active electronic scan array radar.
Yes.
And today I'm proud to say that we are one of the 6 countries in the world only that does that.
Very true.
Just 3 questions I have for you, sir. So your insights into the India-European Free Trade Agreement from the defense point of view. How will we manage transfer of technology? We've tried it earlier with the defense procurement protocol that hasn't really worked. Second question, sir, where do we stand on Kaveri? I mean, I think that is, if anything, that is the backbone which will basically make Tejas the go-to combat vehicle. My third question for you, sir, is where does India stand now in this new world order, given that we are no longer in globalization and finance, and everything seems to be more with how strong your army is and how much you're spending on your defense budgets, etc. My 3 questions.
Very difficult questions. I can't answer the first two. Okay. India EU FTA is a very new one, right? Uh, it won't, if you are looking at a direct impact on defense, frankly, I am not sure you will see it so soon. In any case, in other sectors also, it is 1 year from today, right? The EU FTA, what they say, even the punters in the stock market will, I'm not a stock market player, don't, because I've spoken, you will think I'm into that. No, sorry. But it is going to be effective after 1 year. But like I said, we have, say, Midani. Midani makes metallurgy of a different type. When you want to send a rocket into space, what is that turbine or what is that engine going to, how it is going to take the heat of that engine is a technology in itself. Now, those technologies are come to us. One of the technology denials that happened first was to ISRO. That is why ISRO is a success story. All of us, most of us know it. So India-EU FTA, although there is a maritime agreement that is there, but that is mainly on maritime security and information sharing. That means if a warship carrying some cargo moves out from a port, say in a not so friendly country, and it is transiting our area and is likely to come into Indian area, waters, say 2611 type of case, then that country, an EU country, and we have their observers sitting in our center in Delhi, in Gurgaon, where they will pass a message that looks so-and-so ship laden with so-and-so is likely to come here. Okay, or his satellite may have detected something. There is a ship which is just moving around, is not going anywhere. What is it doing? So that kind of maritime agreement is there. That is called information sharing, right? If you are talking hardcore defense, the EU itself has to sort it out. If you see, we and France have done a lot. Yeah, we and France are in a different level. Italy has come back. It was out, but it has come back. Portugal and all these countries are looking at some tidbits, right? But in Europe, you'll see Germany into submarines, France into many other things. The other countries are all partners. Like Airbus, the door is being made somewhere here. So similarly, if Germany is making a submarine, some parts of that would be coming from some European countries, which is their own internal matters. So that is where EU FTA will come. It will help us certainly. If you're looking at some product, say Pinaka type going there, may happen, may not happen, but it will not affect you. That is one. Kaveri engine, I'll get back to you. I really don't want to comment on. And the third question we'll talk separately because it may not interest them too much. It's a long answer. We need to debate on the side. Yeah. Yes, yes. And Astra Microwave is a success story, I can tell you that.
Sir,
Yeah, please.
Sir, there are many engineering colleges where there is startup cells, and many young engineers are also looking for startup and products for defense use. So how they can approach your department, or what should they do?
So like I said, we have already signed MOUs with many such, and if you see even an IIT, if you go to IIT Mumbai, it specializes in certain parts. You go to IIT Chennai or Madras, they're not changed to Chennai. They call themselves IIT Madras only. They are specialists in a particular field. So in these well-known institutions, we have got our people embedded. We send our own officers for training there or getting degrees there. A not so well-known institution, it may be focusing on a particular aspect. You just have to tell us that, sir, we are keen on this product and show us some promise. And an MOU signed. MOU is the easiest of things. And thereafter, you will get all the support. Basically, we have to tell you what is our problem. And you have to tell us how you can solve it. But you have to tell us in which field you have the capability. Say some are into underwaters. You may have it may not be a robotics college, but in your college you may have some students who have formed a club and are into this. So those students, just because of those 5 students, you can reach out to us. No problem at all. There's no cost attached to it. There's no money attached. Nothing at all. In fact, we welcome it. I'll tell you that. Because our own children are studying. Yeah. Sir.
Thank you very much. I have to say, you've spoken so comprehensively and in such detail. And what is being based out of London, I have to say, it's remarkable to see Indian defense putting out a show like this and explaining it in the way you have in such openness.
Sir.
I have this gentleman here from Congo,
Yeah.
And Congo could be a big supplier for Indian defense in minerals,
Yes.
critical minerals, which may be applicable for many manufacturers. And we've just been sitting and talking and saying, look, is this how open India can be now?
Yes.
The question I have is, you mentioned indigenous. Now, many of our NRIs are not indigenous, or could be, depends on the definition. So do you have a definition of what makes it indigenous?
Okay.
And whether people like us are able to be suppliers?
Okay. No, it's a good question, and coming all the way from UK, I respect it, certainly. So, don't get me wrong about the indigenous content. So, indigenization, we have got it into different parts. So, a product can be 75% indigenous. It can be 25% indigenous, it can be 50% indigenous. So, when we sign a contract with a company, and if you tell me today that you have got 25% indigenous content, but you are ready to scale up in time, then you are very good with us. You may tell us I am 50% indigenous, 50% outside. Now, abhi tak in Hindi, if I tell you, abhi tak what was happening is semi-knockdown kits, you will understand, CKD, was being brought and touted as indigenous. And saying कि इसमें Indian labor लगा है, खून पसीना तो हमारा है. Now, under that, as an OCI card holder, you are there. But we are not looking at that. We are looking at indigenous content, and we are specifying in what part of it. So you can't be making the shell of the ammunition alone. You have to give us some masala or the nose, which is going to take it to its target, or the electronic fuse or the mechanical fuse. Now, sir, coming to another part of it, since there are NRIs or people of Indian origin staying outside, I quote this example to many people. If I am a naval officer posted in Pakistan, Islamabad, right, and I ask a Pakistani officer, tell me, yaar, what your equipment is capable of doing. You know, you have got this machine gun. How many rounds it can fire in how much time, or how good it is? Does it break down when you are fighting in the snow? He will not tell me. But if in Congo, the Indian naval officer is posted in Congo, and there's a Pakistani naval officer there, you will see them attending the same party in probably this gentleman's house. They are best of friends. They would have borrowed cigarettes from each other. They'll be watching the same movie. So, वहाँ से वो intelligence मिलना is much easier. Now, another aspect, I'm just giving you subtle hints. If you are in UK, sir, and you are part of a company which is supplying to NATO, that means you're a London-based company, you're providing some critical technology, say an artificial intelligence-based system to NATO countries. Today what is happening is Indian children, Indian origin, top-notch families, their second generation, are buying those companies or doing a JV with that company. So I can tell you, I know people, they have formed a 49, 51%, whatever JV that countries allow with that company. What is happening now? The UK-based company is benefiting because certain manufacture is being done in India. India ka khoon pasina abhi bhi sasta hai. It is still cheap. So certain manufacture is being done here. Certain value addition is being done in UK, and the NATO country gets it. So the UK-based company is very, very happy because he is making profit now. And they are very capitalist. They are very... Okay, now how does the Indian company benefit? Because now slowly the reverse is going to happen now. This young boy in India is now looking at slowly taking over that company. Or at least he's got 49%. If you and I sit in the same office, or say suppose we are giving the same exam and we are sitting on a table and there's no invigilator, तो हम copying तो करेंगे ना, तो वो copying होगा फिर उधर. So now in UK, in that office where we are sitting neck to neck having a drink in the evening, morning, we play games together, whatever, that leakage of information is happening and he brings it to India then. So it is a both way, it is a win-win for all of us. Of course, NATO can do what it wants. I don't know if I have answered your question, sir, but probably you want to tell me more than this. You know something more which you want to tell me. Any other questions, please?
Wonderful presentation.
First, you have to identify yourself because many of them are looking for you. He is the VC, one of the VCs I was talking about.
I'm Manoj Agarwal. I run a venture fund called C Fund. We are a deep tech focused fund, and defense, dual use defense is one of our focus areas. We have invested in companies in quantum key distribution, quantum sensing radars. very useful stuff for defense. They are also part of the IDEX program. So, we have seen this ecosystem evolve over the last few years, and defense has been doing a wonderful job, and I'm sure people like you sitting in this department has made a huge difference.
Sure.
Like you rightly said, understanding what is happening on the ground in technology helps along with the bureaucratic processes. So I have a couple of questions. So one is so we have seen these companies working with defense, and some of them get these LOIs, right? And many of them we have probably looked at little later, 100 crore LOI, 200 crore LOI. I just want to understand the depth of those LOIs. Okay, how do they transform into orders? One is that. Other thing we see is that a number of these companies, when they get orders, there's a huge cash flow problem, working capital problem. Now banks don't give them money. There's no point raising equity to service an order, right? Equity should be raised to develop a product, to develop technology. But tomorrow you have a 100 crore order. Like I know a company which has some high-tech stuff, which single product, it's like a bit of a project, is 50 crore, single implementation. Now, to get money from defense, they need to give bank guarantees and stuff like that. And banks are not ready to fund them. Now, but the technology is proven. You guys have worked with them. Is there any other way like you spoke, I think, briefly about, how can you solve that problem for companies like this?
You want to say something? He's come all the way from Delhi. You must hear his voice also. Yeah, you can try your best at it. I'll add on. Yeah.
Sir.
You can face the audience and tell them. Yeah.
Yes. So
you can answer the second question first, I think.
Sir, mainly for the funding part, sir. First of all, the question was regarding indigenous content, sir, what sir has already shared. So by cost or by value, we see that it has to be 50% or more. It is called indigenous. And for other things, it is 25%, as sir said. The other question was, sir, regarding the MOUs. Sir has already spoken about the universities. So there are a lot of incubation centers at IITs. Various IITs have incubation centers which actually help you for first 3 years. Any startup which wants to start the business, even it's a group of students, they can actually connect with any of the IITs. They have research park, they have incubation center. For 3 years, they will fund you, they will support you. And thereafter, you're supposed to move out and do your own business. So that one option is there, sir. Regarding your funding part, you said, sir, so in the DFPDS, sir, now there is a, for DPM, which already we have spoken, sir, Defense Procurement Manual, which deals in revenue cases. There is something called DAP, Defense Acquisition Procedures, which is done by DOD, Department of Defense. So that is also under revision, and which is talking about the funding part, which you said, sir, that presently we need to, there are schemes like IDEX or Aditi or TDF, which gives you fund. But in the DAP, we are actually catering for this funding part, which will be out in next 6 months. So that will actually answer your lot of questions. Thank you.
So, so what he's trying to tell you is there are schemes, firstly. The problem that we face normally is that you develop a technology, but you don't reveal its actual cost to us. And more often we find that you have got the critical technology from outside. So when we tell you, give you multiple orders, as we scale up, we say 100 pieces, you're not able to deliver. I've seen a person selling a fire suit in an exhibition like this. He demonstrated to the highest authority in the armed forces. He had a flame gun. He had his own man standing in that fireproof jacket, and he fired that gun at him. So flame was flowing at him, and this chap was, singing. But when we told him, okay, damn good, you please come to our office tomorrow itself. He came and we gave him the order. The intent was there, but he was not able to produce it. So then the LD issue came up. He was too small a player. We let him off. But then we blacklist sometimes because you wasted our time. Right? Now, LOI is an intent. Right? But it is fair. It is. If I tell you I need 100 crores worth of items for next 2 years, 3 years, tak to have. The problem you are not able to understand is how long. How long will those orders keep coming to you, and only to you? So you want to patent your technology or your product. वो ये country के rules से it gets governed. So you make a firefighting suit which can, take heat at certain level. He makes a better one tomorrow. I am not duty bound to give it to you. So that is the ecosystem. But you can export it. Correct. Correct. So we go through these funds. It depends on what technology you are giving us. Yeah, please. Whoever gets the mic first, yeah. How much time you got? आप आगे आ जाइए नहीं तो. Last two questions here. आपके साथ साइड में बात कर लेंगे. No problem.
Hello, sir. Very nice to hear you.
Thank you, sir.
I have retired from defense production.
तो आपको आंसर करना चाहिए था सर आधी चीजें तो. So DDP, Department of Defense Production, looks at mainly the capital things. Correct, sir?
Yes. Actually, my contribution was to build the navy ships for the Indian Army.
Sorry, sir. Sorry.
I
Built
a navy ships for the Indian
Navy.
Indian Navy.
Very good.
At Bombay, and I retired long time before.
Very nice.
And when the there's a recent war, navy ships were used. Those ships were actually built by me, not by me, means contribution by me.
If you had used them little more, there would have been serious problems.
So actually, I got a vast experience and knowledge. I want to share my experience with your people, and I want to do something for the country.
Oh, most welcome. You are based out of Bombay, Delhi?
Yes, I am Bombay.
We can connect you with people in Bombay also. आपको दिल्ली आने की ज़रूरत नहीं.
अच्छा. Whom should I contact?
If there are naval systems, we have a naval command here. There's a 3-star officer here, 2-star officer there. जिस field में आप हैं,
मैं engineering. I'm in the engineering
we
field.
can always connect you, sir. Why not?
Thank you.
Come. Last question. Yeah, I'm under orders from this. You're a young man. You can speak. Start speaking.
My name is Dhruv. I represent Arium Tech Private Limited. We are a 5-year-old startup, a DPIT registered startup.
I spoke to you before this.
Yes.
So I want you to tell them your age. What is your age?
I am 31.
Yeah.
We started 5 years back. And thank you.
And I'll tell you one more good thing he did. He is not from the Lohana side. He married into Lohana.
Yeah. Right.
He is now adopted. Like I think I will get adopted soon. Bilkul smart sir. Bilkul smart. You should have joined the armed navy at least. Anyway, quick.
Yes, sir. So I just wanted to share feedback. So the schemes that you mentioned here, we have taken advantage of several of them.
Okay.
We got into the defense supply business by registering on GEM.
Yeah.
We have, so we have availed facilities like CGT MSc. This is a funding for working capital. And over the last 5 years, we, from a humble beginning of ₹1 million to a single order coming of $500,000, we have come a long way. And I think with the support of the armed forces, we will do much more.
Tell them what products you make quickly, so that
So
the
we
range
are-
of products.
We are in the business of
उनको बता, I know, I am aware.
we are in the business of supplying aircraft consumables, military consumables, naval consumables that are required in manufacturing and maintenance of these defense platforms.
And what is the cost of the smallest item?
Well, sir, the Loctite that you see in the market, like even those Loctites are used by the Indian Navy.
Yeah.
But because of strict quality norms, because they go on a defense platform, even a 50 ml bottle of Loctite costing a few ₹1,000 would have a file full of documents for quality assurance.
How much does it cost in the defense as compared to outside? So I'm talking about dual use technology, right?
Ji, sir.
I need to encourage people.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's my aim.
Well, sir.
Don't reveal your business secrets. Mota bata do.
Sir, it can range from a few ₹1,000 and all the way up to lakhs of rupees per item.
Yeah, that's the scale. All it requires is a little bit of marine, something which makes it safe from the salt water, for example. That's all. That is the only difference you need to do, for which he can connect with one of you all. Somebody who makes a better quality paint, a powder, or some technology, you can combine and join it.
But sir, it wouldn't have been possible without the support of senior officers from the Indian Armed Forces, Indian Navy and Indian Air Force.
Thanks,
for
sir.
us.
That's a good note for me to finish the speech on. Thanks. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much, everyone.
A huge, huge, huge round of applause, please.